All right, guys, we are going to get started with an awesome dry casting of this fantabulous glue bottle here. So here are some materials that you might want to have out. If you have any kind of plastic wrap or cling wrap, that is going to be so helpful for you. Scissors are a must. If you have an X-Acto knife or utility knife, those are going to be helpful. And then obviously our handy dandy packing tape. So to dry cast this, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use our plastic wrap to cover up the bottle. And the more like flat you can get your plastic wrap, obviously like the better it's gonna look. So I'm kind of going carefully here. And then we really wanna make sure that we get all the corners covered. Specifically this area, if we push too hard on the saran wrap and cover that little ledge there, then we'll miss that when we're adding tape and the glue bottle will look more like a baby bottle. I'm speaking to you from experience. And then this extra stuff, I don't need it. Get that out of here. Okay, so I'm working really carefully to get this thing wrapped. Okay, and then I'm gonna take this little guy here. So notice how I really hugged that edge. That's gonna be important for us. Okay, and it's all stuck down. Got almost every part of it covered. I just realized a part that I missed. So I'm gonna rip off a little bit of my material here, stick it over the top. If you miss a piece, the tape gets stuck to it and then it's like kind of hard to get it off. Okay, so we are saran wrapped. Now, if you don't have saran wrap at home, that's okay, or plastic wrap, cling wrap, whatever. You are just gonna do your first layer with your sticky side out of your tape. So let's say I don't have plastic wrap, then my first layer, I'm gonna have the sticky side facing out and I would cover it like this. Since I have my plastic wrap, I'm gonna put my sticky side facing down. Now, I think of these in units. This is one unit and this is another unit. So I'm gonna cover this part first because it is pretty straightforward. So I'm making sure the tape is hugging the area, not sticking out too much, kind of smoothing it down with my hand. And I can use my tape however I want to. I can also use my scissors if I'm feeling like, man, I'm not getting a clean edge on here. So maybe I'd want to cut and do individual strips. But the goal is to get 3 to 4 layers of tape on this thing. So we should have enough tape to do this little practice guy as well as whatever object you choose. And I'm just constantly smoothing it down as I go. Okay. I think that was 3 to 4 layers there. And you guys should be doing this at home while I'm doing it here. No, I didn't get the bottom. And that's gonna be important to get my full dry casting. I wanna get the bottom too. So I might trim it there. Really pushing it down. Got my scissors nearby to make sure that I'm not trying to wrap a piece. Like if I try to wrap a piece from here all the way up to here, it's not gonna go nicely and it's gonna create like a bunch of bends and stuff. So I'm just working carefully to not do that. Once I've got 3 layers on the bottom, and I've got 3 layers here, okay, and I can feel it. It feels pretty sturdy. Okay, now I gotta start dealing with this top part, which is gonna be a little bit more difficult for me. So, also the tape can be a killer. Okay, so since I know these are smaller, I'm gonna actually like cut a piece this big, and then I'm gonna cut it into smaller strips because that's gonna be easier for me to work with. Okay, so I've got a piece of tape this big. Cutting it into strips unsuccessfully because it like sticks to itself all the time. Okay, so here I have like a smaller strip, right? It looks like it needs to go even smaller than that. If you just cut a little tear, then you can usually get those smaller strips. Okay, so I got my smaller strip going here. cutting it as I need to. Whoops. Being extra careful. Okay, got that folded down. Okay, now I just need to add some more layers here. Going back to that process of cutting a strip. Cutting this into smaller, thinner strips. Okay, now I think I'm ready to attack the top part. So again, I've got these little pieces. I kind of stick them on the end of my table so that I don't lose them. So I've kind of got those. So you scooch out a little bit. I've just got a bunch of sticky edge tapes of different sizes right there, kind of wait. Okay. So if I see a part that's sticking up, I just add another piece of tape to smooth it down. All right, for this strip, I'm gonna go across here. Okay, I really need to get this folded in. So I just kind of push that down. It sticks to the cling wrap for me. Okay, it looked like I needed one even maybe thinner than that. Let's try this way. Okay, that looks like it's gonna be problematic. I'm just gonna snip that off. Okay, so you're just covering this whole thing with tape. And when I say 2 to 3 layers, I mean 2 to 3 layers. Otherwise, when you go to cut the seams off, you're gonna be like, man, I did not add enough tape to that. So I'm still going here. I wish I could Martha Stewart this and just like speed up and say, ta-da, finished product. But I wanna walk through the steps with you guys because I know this can be kind of a challenge. So got my little small pieces going still. Got this like ultra skinny piece, that's gonna go. Right there. Okay, so I'm just working my way through it. Three layers throughout. Okay, so I'm getting closer. You guys see how I'm losing this edge here? So I want to come back in and try to tighten that a little bit so that I don't lose that form. So I'm just going to go like this, pull it pretty tight. So then I got that pulled back in. Okay, so I'm working on these last layers here. It's not an exact science. If you think you have 3, that's okay. And we might learn from this one, okay, I need to do some extra layers. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this, I don't know why I called it a girl. This is ready to have the seams cut. Okay, so it's fully covered, 3 layers, top to bottom, side to side, nozzle to the end. Now, if you just have scissors, you're gonna start by trying to get a hole in here that you can use as a seam, okay? I think it is much easier to use an X-Acto knife or utility knife. If you're using those things, you know, talk to your parents. We never cut towards our hands. We never do that, okay? And I still think it's easiest to start my seam here. So I'm just kind of running my knife through there multiple times. Let's see, did I get it? Looks like I got it. Okay. You could use a kitchen knife to get that started if you were anxious about it, but using the scissors is going to be harder in general. So I would really recommend utilizing an X-Acto knife if you have one. Okay, so now my seam goes from here all the way to the bottom. Double checking that. Okay, and then now I need to take this up. And then all the way up to the nozzle. Make sure you've cut through all those layers. Okay. And then we're going to kind of peel this off gently. We don't want to mess with the form of it too much. Okay, then I'm going to line those seams up. This is called a seam where we cut it at. So I want to line those seams up, and then now I'm going to add some tape over the top of it to close those seams off. Okay, so again, I've got my packing tape nearby, ready to go. You can cut it into smaller strips as well. Okay, so first seam is on the bottom. I want to make sure I get that lined up perfect. Could go back in and trim that if I didn't like it. Okay, next, I'm gonna go up the back part of the bottle. Don't want to overlap it, but want it to seam closed. Okay, this part isn't working for me, so I'm going in and cutting that off. Okay, so this is the hardest part in my opinion, getting that top nozzle part to close. So I've got an even smaller piece of packing tape. So I get that sealed off. So at this point, I could kind of go in and trim any loose ends that were sticking out. Till I have this lovely dry casted glue bottle. Okay, that's it.